In a city where glass towers were rising toward the sky and cranes moved like giant metal birds above half-finished buildings, progress seemed unstoppable. New technology arrived every day. Smartphones glowed in every hand. Roads stretched wider and smoother. Shopping malls sparkled at night like festivals that never ended. People spoke of development, investment, digital revolutions, and smart living. The future, they said, had already begun. But far from the glow of neon lights and polished floors, in a quiet village at the edge of that same city, Rahmat Ali stood in his shrinking field and watched a different kind of future unfold. Every year, the city moved a little closer to his land. First, it was a new highway cutting through the outskirts. Then a housing society with walls so high they blocked the sunset. After that came factories, warehouses, and real estate agents carrying maps and promises. Where golden wheat once danced with the wind, concrete began to spread like a slow, unstoppable tide. Rahmat Ali was not against progress. He was not afraid of change. But he often wondered why progress seemed to grow tall in the city while his crops struggled to grow at all. The cost of fertilizer had doubled. The price of quality seeds had risen beyond his reach. Diesel for his old tractor felt like liquid gold. Every season demanded more investment, more risk, more borrowing. Yet when harvest time came, the market price of his crops remained almost the same as it had been years ago. "Why does everything get expensive except what we grow?" he would ask quietly. No one had a clear answer. His son, Asif, owned a smartphone. He followed news about stock markets, cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, and global trade. He saw advertisements for luxury apartments being built on what used to be farmland. The same soil his father tilled was now being marketed as premium real estate. One evening, Asif showed his father a video. It was about vertical farming inside city buildings, where vegetables grew under artificial lights without soil. "Abba," Asif said gently, "maybe farming is changing." Rahmat Ali looked at the screen. Plants growing without earth, water flowing through pipes instead of canals, machines measuring nutrients. He felt both amazed and displaced. So even soil is no longer needed, he whispered. The city celebrated innovation. Investors praised smart solutions. But Rahmat Ali wondered, if the earth itself becomes unnecessary, what happens to those who have lived by it for generations? He remembered his father teaching him how to read the sky, how to predict rain by the movement of clouds, how to touch the soil and feel its health. Those skills were not written in books. They were passed from calloused hands to eager fingers. Now weather patterns had become unpredictable. Sometimes heavy rain destroyed half the crop. Sometimes drought burned it before it could mature. Climate change was discussed in conferences and news panels, but for Rahmat Ali, it was not a theory. It was the difference between profit and loss, between dignity and debt. Banks offered loans, but paperwork was complicated. Middlemen controlled the markets. Storage facilities were limited, forcing farmers to sell quickly at lower prices. Meanwhile, city supermarkets sold the same produce at triple the cost. One night, Rahmat Ali attended a community meeting. Many farmers gathered under a dim light. Their stories were similar: rising input costs, stagnant crop prices, land being acquired for development projects, young people leaving villages for city jobs. An old farmer spoke with trembling honesty: "We feed the nation, but we cannot feed our own families without worry." The silence that followed was heavy. Back in the city, politicians inaugurated new projects with ribbon cuttings and applause. Social media buzzed with drone shots of shining infrastructure. News anchors spoke of growth percentages. But rarely did the camera turn toward shrinking fields or tired farmers. Rahmat Ali did not envy the city. He only wished for fairness. He began experimenting with small changes. He reduced chemical fertilizer and tried organic compost to cut costs. He joined a cooperative with other farmers to sell directly to local buyers, bypassing middlemen. It was not easy. It required learning, adapting, and trusting one another. Asif helped by creating a small social media page to advertise their produce directly to consumers. Slowly, a few families in the nearby town began ordering vegetables straight from Rahmat Ali's farm. For the first time, he saw technology not as a threat, but as a bridge. Yet challenges remained. Fuel prices still rose unpredictably. Water supply became more limited each year. The government announced subsidies, but accessing them required digital forms and procedures that many older farmers struggled to navigate. One afternoon, a real estate agent visited Rahmat Ali's home. He offered an amount of money that seemed unimaginable. "Sell the land," he said smoothly. Your children will live comfortably. No more worries about rain or markets. Rahmat Ali looked toward his fields. The soil was dry that day, waiting for the next irrigation. It did not look glamorous. It did not shine like the city's skyscrapers. But it carried memories, sweat, and identity. What will I be without this land? He asked himself. Money could buy a house in the city. It could pay for education. It could remove debt, but could it replace purpose? That night, Rahmat Ali could not sleep. He imagined the field replaced by concrete. He imagined construction machines tearing through the soil that had once grown wheat, cotton, and vegetables. He imagined his grandchildren asking, "What did you used to do?" Would he answer, "I used to be a farmer"? Or would he say, "I sold the land"? The next morning, he walked through the field at sunrise. The air was cool. Birds moved across the horizon. The soil beneath his feet felt familiar, steady, real. He realized that the issue was not simply about money or modernization. It was about balance. A society cannot survive on technology alone. It cannot eat concrete or download wheat. No matter how advanced cities become, someone must still wake before dawn, plant seeds, water crops, and wait patiently for nature's mercy. Rahmat Ali decided not to sell. Instead, he committed to adapting. He attended workshops on sustainable farming. He learned about water-efficient irrigation systems. He explored crop diversification to reduce risk. With SEF's help, he started sharing short videos of farm life online, educating urban audiences about the challenges farmers face. To his surprise, many people responded with support. Some said they had never thought about where their food truly came from. Others expressed gratitude. A few even volunteered to visit and learn. Gradually, Rahmat Ali's farm became more than just a source of crops. It became a symbol of resilience. He understood that the world was changing, and he could not stop it. Skyscrapers would continue to rise. Technology would evolve. Cities would expand, but he could ensure that his small piece of earth remained alive, productive, and meaningful. One evening, standing at the edge of his field, Rahmat Ali watched the city lights flicker in the distance. They were beautiful in their own way. But he no longer saw them as competition. He saw them as a reminder. Development should not mean displacement. Progress should not leave behind those who sustain it. True growth is not measured only in taller buildings or faster internet speeds, but in the well-being of every citizen, including the farmer whose hands are stained with soil. The widening roads and glowing screens may define modern life, but the simple act of planting a seed still defines survival. Rahmat Ali's fields may have become smaller, but his understanding had grown deeper. He realized that dignity does not come from the size of one's land, but from the courage to protect it. It comes from adapting without losing identity, from embracing technology without abandoning tradition. In the end, the story of a nation is not written only in its cities. It is written in its villages, in its farms, in the quiet persistence of those who continue to work the land despite rising costs and shrinking space. And as long as Rahmat Ali wakes before sunrise, as long as he presses seeds into the soil with hope, as long as he believes that the earth still matters, there will be something no skyscraper can replace, the heartbeat of the land. Because no matter how high the buildings rise, humanity still depends on the humble farmer who stands beneath the open sky, waiting for rain.